This is Hannah Ogle with Watkins Insurance Group, and we're going to be talking about farm and ranch structures. Here in Texas, some of us may not think of ourselves as living on a farm and ranch. Many of us may live just somewhat rural, but have some other buildings and outbuildings that might be unique and need to be addressed specifically. So that's what we're talking about today. I am the VP of Personal Insurance here at Watkins Insurance Group and lead the personal insurance team. Inside my team, we have a couple of folks that specialize in farm and ranch coverage. And so you'll see me mention them along the way. So let's jump in. So our agenda today, we are going to be talking about the type of damage we typically see on outbuildings and other structures. This type of damage might occur due to a natural disaster like a wildfire. We've seen some of that recently. And I even remember a specific wildfire that actually happened up in the Brownwood area a few years ago. And it was pretty devastating. It wiped out a fair amount of our clients' fencing materials. They lost animals, they lost outbuildings. And so that is a specific one that comes to my mind when I think about what outbuildings could be damaged by. Definitely wildfire. The other big one that we have seen recently is wind damage. Hail damage. We've seen a lot of damage just north of the Austin area. In fact, the Port Gerald area got hit multiple times this year with tornadic type action, and there were quite a few clients with damaged buildings. So that's the type of damage we see generally. And so, it could be wildfire, it could be wind damage. This could be occurring to farm specific and ranching specific type buildings. It might be something on your homeowner's premises, like a pool cabana or a small storage shed. So these are all the types of buildings we're talking about today. And the reason why we want to bring this up is because we've heard of some situations where a outbuilding was not covered on the insurance policy after one of these types of occurrences because the building wasn't scheduled on their policy specifically. They were assuming that their building was covered under the other structures coverage on their homeowners or farm and ranch policy. And many of us may be very accustomed to understanding that other structures is an automatic coverage on a homeowner policy. It's usually covered at automatically 10% of whatever your primary home dwelling limit is. So if your primary home dwelling limit is 500,000, your other structure's automatic coverage might be 50,000. But the devil's in the details as usual, and there is a definition in the insurance contract which defines what an other structure is. So let's talk about that really quick. So other structures, as defined by most homeowners policies or farm and ranch policies, generally indicate that a detached other structure that's automatically covered by the policy with 10% of the dwelling limit are things that support the primary residence. So what would that be? Here's some examples. Maybe you have a small guest house detached from your primary home. That is in support of your primary home because when you have guests, that is where they're staying, and that all involves your primary residence. You might have a detached garage. And again, as long as that garage is being used to store your vehicles that you drive on a regular basis, not farm-specific vehicles, but your regular daily driver vehicles, if that detached garage maybe contains tools that you use to maintain your lawn or repair things in the home, that is a automatically covered detached garage that would fall under the definition of an other structures on a homeowner policy or a farm and ranch policy. What about a pool house or a pool cabana? That also would be automatically covered on most home insurance policies and farm and ranch policies with that 10% automatic coverage extension from the dwelling. So if you have a pool house, you can pretty much anticipate that also would be covered as automatic coverage under other structures. Now we're seeing a lot of outdoor entertaining areas being constructed. And we have a lot of, this is Texas, we have a lot of outdoor living experiences happening. And we may see pretty extensive outdoor kitchens. Those might be attached to the home, but they might also be in a detached kind of separate area at the residence premises used for entertaining and, just lifestyle. So that would also be automatically covered if it's in support of the activities going on at the primary residence. So to recap, automatically covered other structures on a home or farm and ranch policy are typically things like guest homes, detached garages, pool cabanas, and outdoor kitchens and entertainment areas. These, we're not really seeing much of a concern. The automatic coverage is generally enough. But now let's talk about what might not be automatically covered on a homeowner's policy or a farm and ranch policy. So these are some examples of the types of structures that would not be automatically covered on a homeowner policy or a farm and ranch policy. Things such as these are like a barn outbuilding where there could be some sort of storage happening, like hay storage, or maybe there are ranching supplies, farming supplies, maybe you're planting crops, things like that. You might have livestock containment, structures. Maybe those are poultry houses, or maybe something as simple as just a horse barn. You might have a cattle run-in shed. These types of buildings are not automatically covered on homeowners policies or farm and ranch policies. These types of buildings need to be scheduled on your homeowners or your farm and ranch. Now, most homeowners policies are not going to have the flexibility to schedule these types of buildings. And why aren't they automatically covered? Well, again, going back to the previous slide, these buildings do not house or contain activities or equipment or supplies that are generally in support of activities going on at the primary home. These are generally supporting activities that are taking place on the farm and ranch property and usually involve separate activities from the home, such as livestock maintenance, rearing. This could be equipment for your livestock, or it could be equipment for your farm and ranch activity. Another one we see frequently are, a lot of our clients that have these larger properties for, a lot of our clients have these properties for weekend type getaways, but they are generally larger acreage. They may have a tractor at their farm and ranch location. And that tractor they're very expensive. Not only does the tractor probably need to be scheduled, but the building that it is parked in is probably not considered an automatically covered other structure because the tractor is generally used to work the land and the possible ranching activities or farming activities. It's not used in support of the primary dwelling. And so both the tractor and the building it is kept in when not in use probably both need to be scheduled specifically on the policy. And unfortunately, many homeowner policies don't have the flexibility to just add a separate barn or structure. You could ask for sure to see if that's possible on a homeowner policy. Oftentimes, we would need to insure properties that have these types of other structures on a true either farm mutual policy or a farm and ranch policy. Those types of policies provide a lot of flexibility to us as insurance agents to help our clients. We can list as many buildings and structures as the client has on those types of policies. Okay, so just to recap, we have covered uh, the types of damage that we see claims filed for. We are often seeing wind damage. That's probably the number one thing we see damaging other structures or outbuildings. And then also we have the threat of wildfire, and it is a increasing threat in our areas. And so we also want to be careful to think about wildfire and windstorm, maybe hail damage as things that could be impacting these outbuildings and other structures. So automatically covered on most homeowner policies, although you might want to verify if you do have any detached structures with your agent and your insurance company to make sure they're automatically covered. Generally, we see guest homes, detached garages, pool casitas or cabanas, and outdoor kitchens and entertainment areas as qualifying as automatically covered under the other structures coverage on a home or farm and ranch policy. But where we do have a challenge, and they are often not automatically covered by your home or farm and ranch policy, are any buildings like barns, poultry houses, structures covering hay storage, tractor storage. Those types of buildings need to be specifically scheduled. So now let's talk about real quick, well, what do I do if I think I need to talk to somebody about this? Like, do I have an outbuilding or another structure? Which one do I have? Do I have coverage for this on my current policy? And do I need to get specialized coverage? So if you have outbuildings on your property, you can look at your policy, or if you're a client here with Watkins Insurance Group, you can reach out to your insurance advisor here or myself, and we can assist you in analyzing your policy to determine if you need any sort of special coverage. I'd like to highlight a few folks in my team that specialize in farm and ranch assistance here to our clients. Tamara Reed, she is an insurance advisor and been with us for many years, and has a strong passion and interest in insuring farms and ranches. And Kat Leggett is a team member with Tamara, and together they handle most of our personal farm and ranch clients. And Kat is a service advisor here at Watkins, has been with us for 2 years. So then up in our Waco office, we've got Dana Bishop. And so if you're one of our Waco-based clients, you may be working with Dana Bishop. So any of these folks are available if you've got a question about your Watkins Insurance Group policy specifically. Do I have an outbuilding or do I have another structures? And is it covered, or do I need to get specialized coverage in place? These are some of the great people that you can reach out to and talk with. All right, so I'd love to open it up for any questions. There could be a chat box there on your end. If you've got some questions, we'd love to hear from you. I'll give it a couple of moments here just to see if any questions show up. And if not, we'll be concluding our webinar today. And I really do appreciate you joining us to talk about outbuildings and other structures and how to cover those properly. All right, I'm not seeing anything in the chat bar, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks so much for joining us. If you need anything, please reach out to us here at Watkins Insurance Group, and have a great day.